The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with eXp Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. You're watching the first show of 2024. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined as always by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, Happy New Year, buddy.
Hey, Sean, Happy New Year to you and also everybody else out around the 912. Looking forward to hopefully a big year in high school sports here in 2024 for our coverage area here in Southeast Georgia.
Kevin, we capped off 2023 with not one, but two. We get that number there, two state champions in football. So congratulations to the Pierce County Bears winning the AA state championship, and congratulations to the Coffee High Trojans for winning the 5A state championship. So, Kevin, both of those teams with excellent seasons there in 2023.
Yeah, for sure. Great seasons, regardless of how those state championships would have turned out. But obviously, all the more better for both of those teams winning. Sean, you know, we felt pretty good about both teams having a chance to hoist those trophies at the end of those games. And looking at that 5A game, Coffee went out and put that great defense on display, won that game with defense. And, of course, Fred Brown carrying the football for them. And then, you know, what a game that AA game was between Pierce and Rockmart. If you were just a high school football fan that sat down in Mercedes-Benz to watch hopefully a good football game, or turn it on the TV to watch a good game, or maybe even just listen on the radio, I think you got more than you bargained for, because as far as the back and forth action going into overtime, it was just a great, great football game. But fortunately for Pierce and us here at 912, our team was able to win it. And I think, Sean, we'll talk about some of the key components for Pierce in that game later on. But we saw what Pierce was all about, if we didn't already know it, in that state championship game. Their big players stepped up, their supporting cast played a great role. And, of course, they did a good job coaching as well, and just an all-around great effort by the Bears. And certainly congratulations to both the Bears and the Coffee for hoisting those state titles.
Yeah, great season. Coffee going 15-0. Pierce with just that one blemish on the record to Applin earlier in the year, just by 3 points. But go back and tune in to 912sports.net. Listen to the coach's perspective. Ryan Herron's got some great things. He talks about that game, Kevin, and how they kind of slow played it at the end of the regulation. Not wanting to lose it in regulation. Felt like they had a pretty good shot of winning it in overtime. And then what their thoughts were going into that last overtime. Once Rockmart had to kick that field goal, Pierce felt like they were in pretty good shape, but you can hear all that right there from Ryan Herron on the podcast. So go back and check that out when you get a chance. That's on 912sports.net. But
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Kevin, back on Wednesday, December the 20th, we had National Signing Day, the first of two National Signing Days for football, and we had a lot of players here in the 912 put pen to paper, and we're going to talk about the Power 5 guys that signed here from the 912. We're going to start off with the Brunswick High Pirates. Devin Smith, the big linebacker, was our cover athlete for the first book of this year, first football book, and he wound up signing with the Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah, of course, that was no surprise. As you mentioned, we had Devin previewed in our preseason edition, the cover story on Devin being one of the top players around the area. And speaking of that, just reminded me there's a couple of Kentucky fans that I know here where I live that have wanted a copy of that article all season, and I still need to get it to them. So I will do that, certainly now that he's signed, sealed, and delivered with the Wildcats. But a great way for him to cap his career with that all-state selection, and of course that we'll talk about, and then of course getting go ahead and signing during the early signing period, and really turned it on late for the Pirates, I think, and just a great overall senior season for him coming off that injury from the year before.
Yeah, spent most of it, really the latter part of his junior year sideline there, but come back with a vengeance there his senior year, and he's going to do great things up there in Lexington. But we'll move on down the road to the Glen Academy Red Terrors. The Glen Academy Red Terrors, David Prince signed to go to play at Georgia Tech. David, the big wide receiver, tight end guy over there. So we'll see what he can do once he gets up there to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, David Prince, a great athlete for the Red Terrors. Certainly – you saw that on display throughout the season, made some great athletic catches, throughout his career and including this season. And, was committed to Georgia Tech going back to the summer. So he stayed with that commitment when he signed. And, he's probably still a little raw, Sean, actually at the wide receiver position, probably still a lot to learn on the college level, but all the pieces are there. He just needs to put them together, and we'll see what he can do there on the flats for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, he'll be a big physical receiver for him, once he gets in there and gets indoctrinated into that Tech way. But next up on the list, Kevin, we had Bradwell Institute, Elijah Thurman. Elijah's a big offensive lineman. This, Kevin, was one of those things that people really didn't know. He had several, I think, 30-plus offers to D1 schools, wound up choosing the Clemson Tigers, which I thought was interesting. I thought he may wind up going to South Carolina, but he goes to the ACC to play for Clemson, but they're going to get a good one there in Elijah Thurman.
Yeah, for sure. Big kid, first of all, 6'3", I think, 285. So he fills out the uniform quite nicely. A consistent, constant force for Bradwell all year long. Clemson's turned out a lot of good linemen on both sides of the football here in the recent past, including some certainly from national championship teams. So he's going to a great program. Obviously, there's maybe taken a step back or two here in recent years. Of course, they won a good ball game the other day over Kentucky, which was another entertaining ball game down in the Gator Bowl. But hopefully he can help Clemson kind of rise back up to the top there in the national rankings as college football will enter a new era as he joins Clemson.
We'll see how all that shakes out for him. Moving on over to Statesboro, Kevin, we got Cam McHale. Cam McHale was a kid that was committed to Georgia for several months, going all the way back maybe for a year or so. And then Cam, I guess 4 weeks ago, decided that he might go out to Colorado. Then he made the decommitment to Georgia, said he was going to go play for Deion Sanders out at Colorado. And on Wednesday the 20th, he put pen to paper, and he will be playing for the Colorado Buffaloes.
Yeah, so Deion obviously gets a great athlete, another guy to add to that mix there in Colorado as they continue to, maybe build something special there. And, obviously he is a jack of all trades too, Sean. He plays basketball for Statesboro, and a track star as well. So I think athlete certainly personifies him. We'll see if they keep him at defensive back or wide receiver or both. Obviously the future is bright for Cam McHale with the Colorado Buffaloes.
And Kevin, you win some, you lose some, and that's kind of what Deion was with the Statesboro guys. It's funny because Montre Bradford had been committed to Colorado all pretty much his whole high school career. Felt like that was where he was going to wind up, but then early signing day morning he flips to Georgia Tech, which nobody really saw coming. But now Bradford's going to stay at home, go right on up there to the flats and play for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, that's interesting because you would have thought that maybe he does stick with Colorado with everything that Deion's selling and having going on there. Not sure what happened there, but obviously that's a big pickup for Georgia Tech to flip him like that. With a still a pretty new coaching staff for them, so that was a good haul in there for Georgia Tech, and he'll play close to home, and hopefully he can help Tech kind of keep trending forward.
And then that leaves us our last Power 5 signee. That's going to be Matthew Fuller, the big running back over at Wayne County, and he signed to go play for the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah, no surprise again, as you know, Sean. That happened over the summer where he committed to the Gamecocks. Number one, he liked the program, but there were some personal family things going on there with ties to Columbia and the South Carolina area, and then of course Jay Bo Shaw and Connor Shaw. And his ties. So there was a lot of tie-ins there. Fuller certainly felt at home there. And talk about a guy who was the bell cow for his team. That was certainly, Fuller for the Wayne County offense. But, he played linebacker and in the secondary for them, Sean. So just a hard, tough-nosed runner. Has a nose for the football on the defensive side of the ball, at least in high school. Over 200 pounds, just solid as a rock. So he's going to be a great one there for the Gamecocks in Columbia.
Yeah, he's going to be a bruiser. And I did talk to Matthew. He is planning on playing running back at the next level, and I'm assuming that's where the Gamecocks will keep him. But they're getting a good one there, and Matthew Fuller for sure.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Kevin, there's all kind of accolades out there after this football season. There's all kind of all-state honors out there. Of course, we had our all-912 team. You can go back and watch the award show and see it. It'll also be in the upcoming January, February issue of 912 Sports. But we're going to go over and look at the AJC's all-state team, Kevin, and talk a little bit about the guys from here from the 912 that are on that team. And we're going to start off in 7A. 7A as a safety from the Camden County Wildcats, Jamarley Riddle was chose for this team, and well deserved there for Jamarley. He's also part of our 912 team.
No question, Jamarley certainly a great two-way player for Camden, big-time playmaker on both sides of the ball, and one of the biggest reasons on the field that they were able to make that run to the semifinal. So excited for his career. He's a guy that could probably play at a Power 5 school too. So we'll see if he sticks it out, at the next level where he's headed. But obviously a great season for him. All-State, no question.
And then we'll drop down to 6A, Kevin. We had two Brunswick High Pirates on this list. One was TJ touchdown Terry Mitchell. And then we've had at linebacker, Terry Mitchell's a wide receiver. And then at linebacker, of course, Devin Smith. Both of these kids well-deserving there to be on this All-State team.
Yeah, we've already talked about Devin, signing with Kentucky. Just a great pickup for them. Kind of a blue-collar guy that's going to fit in well, I think, with the Wildcats. And then Terry Mitchell. Still not sure exactly where he's going. I know he's got some offers on the table. I guess we'll find that out here in the next, little bit with the next signing day coming up in early February. But certainly the guy that's lightning in the bottle. He's hard to defend in a phone booth. A lot of the coaches describe him that way, and just very electric, but good athlete. A little bit small, but he plays big time, and we saw that for the Pirates.
Yep, most definitely. And then we'll move on down to 5A. We had two players of the year in 5A, offensive player of the year, and also running back Fred Brown, which is pretty much won every award that there is out there, Kevin. He was also our offensive player of the year here for the 912. And then coach of the year, Mike Coe. Well-deserving. Mike Coe took in his second year there at Coffee County, took those Trojans to 15-0 and a state title, Kevin.
Yeah, we obviously talked about Coach Coe on our award show. He was one of our co-coaches of the year, and what a great job he did. Inherited a good Coffee team, but took it to the next level in just his second year. And what a defense they had, but certainly what a running back they had with Fred Brown, just a big, another bruising back that just seemed to get better and better as he went. And of course, like you said, he was our offensive player of the year and set a single season rushing record there for Coffee. And again, you kind of saw the complementary football in that state championship game. They just kept hammering that ball with Fred Brown and got the job done offensively. Then they turned it over to their defense to continue to, dominate. And that's really how they won a lot of games this year, Sean, with Fred Brown carrying that rock, supplying the offense, and then the defense just shutting down every opponent they played.
Exactly, Kevin. Two more Coffee Trojans on that team. Jazabion Grant, offensive lineman, and Anthony Paul, defensive back. So the accolades just keep rolling in for the state champions there, Kevin.
Yeah, no surprise. I mean, we both know those names. We're real familiar with them. Again, Grant paved the way for Brown, I guess. One of the guys that did anyway. And then Paul had a great year in that secondary. Another good athlete overall for Coffee, and a lot of good athletes on that defense. And that's why they were able to get it done with guys like Paul.
And the last guy on 5A we just talked about, Elijah Thurman, Bradwell Institute kid going over to Clemson. So big year for him, the offensive lineman there from Bradwell. But moving on down to 4A, Kevin, we just talked about Matthew Fuller moving on to South Carolina. He's the running back there for the Wayne County Yellow Jackets. And then offensive lineman Zach Pearson, I believe we did a story on him, Kevin, earlier in the season, set to be the valedictorian, I do believe, over there at New Hampstead. So a really smart kid. So it'll be interesting to see where Zach plays his college football if he does play at the next level.
Yeah, real good lineman for them. And, certainly, like you say, with a high IQ and a high football IQ as well. We know that New Hampstead had a great offense this year, with certainly some great skill players, but good line play as well. And he was part of that.
Nobody from 3A, Kevin, but moving down to 2A, and we had a whole litany of players of the year. We had offensive player of the year, Caden McGatha, one of, I think, two now, Kevin, of high school football players here in the state of Georgia that has rushed for 2,000 yards and passed for 2,000 yards. Carson Sloan was the defensive player of the year, and Coach Ryan Herring, coach of the year. All these Pierce County players getting well-deserved accolades there from the AJC state team.
Yeah, just awesome that they swept those superlative honors with Coach Herring being the coach of the year, and then Sloan and McCatha being the defensive player and the offensive player of the year. And Sean, all those guys, or both of those guys, put up phenomenal numbers in that state championship game. Sloan starring on both sides of the ball, McCatha doing his thing, throwing and running the football in that state championship game. And again, it was just a good capsule look of what Pierce was all about, with those two guys, and certainly with Coach Herring leading the way from a coaching standpoint. But just a great year for the Bears, and obviously no surprise that they were able to sweep those honors.
Also on that list for Pierce County, Elijah Howard, offensive lineman. Elijah, another two-way player, played offensive line and defensive line for the Pierce County Bears. Great season there for Elijah. Offensive lineman Jalen Bennett from Appleton County. Appleton County with one player represented there in the first team on the All-State AJC team. And then congratulations to linebacker Carter Mullis. Carter, I believe, was one of our players of the week, Kevin, here a few weeks back for the Jeff Davis Yellow Jackets. Big linebacker there for Carter Mullis. So congratulations on being named to the AJC All-State team.
Yeah, and we mentioned the Pierce guys. Obviously those stars had some help, to do what they did, and then of course, the Mullis kid with Jeff Davis. We knew he was a great player for them. I think on both sides of the football, and kind of turned it around again this year at Jeff Davis. So a great honor for him to get some recognition as well.
And then to wrap it up for the AJC All-State team, we've got Division or Single A Division 2. We had two Clinch County Panthers on that team, Elijah Cobb for the offensive line and athlete Jeremy Bell. And Jeremy Bell definitely fits that athlete category, Kevin. I think played all over the field, receiver, running back, quarterback. I think he might even drove the bus a couple of times. But, great job there by Jeremy Bell, and he's doing great things on the hardwood already for the Clinch County Panthers basketball team.
Yeah, Clinch with another great season, and of course, the good lineman, and then Bell. I think he was one of our players of the week early on, where he kind of did do everything. I think scored, maybe rushing and receiving. Like I say, caught passes, threw passes, did a little bit of everything for Clinch in that game and throughout the year. And I think he's supposed to be headed to Indiana, Sean, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know whether he went ahead and signed or not. I would assume maybe that he did, but I don't know if anything's changed there. But obviously, wherever he goes, they're getting a good athlete like a lot of the guys we've already mentioned.
Well, Kevin, we'll take a break and come right back here to On Air with 912 Sports and talk a little hardwood basketball style. So stick around. We'll be right back here after these messages.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Welcome back, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke. He's Kevin Price, and we're going to talk a little basketball now. Kevin, we've got a couple teams that are ranked in the AJC basketball polls. We're going to start with the boys. In 3A, we've got coming in at number 5, the Long County Blue Tide. And then in Single A, Division 2, we've got the number 10 Clinch County Panthers. Both of these programs, Kevin, having great years.
Yeah, for sure. Not very surprised by that either. Traditionally have been two of the better teams in our area. So we're kind of getting into the nitty gritty now as we move into January of high school basketball. A lot of people will probably start putting a little more attention on it, as will we. But most of these teams are going to be moving into region play if they haven't already played a game or two. So basketball really about to heat up here in Southeast Georgia in the months of January and February.
Yeah, some of these teams have played a few region games, but probably only one or two under their belt. The month of January, they're going to get almost all region games. We'll get a little bit better feel of who's going to be on the top of some of these regions. But switching over to the girls, the AJC rankings come down to 5A. We've got number 7. We've got the Bradwell Institute Tigers. At number 8, we got the Ware County Gators, and at number 9, we got the Statesboro Blue Devils. And Kevin, all three of those teams are in the same region, so it's going to be that's definitely going to be one of the girls' regions to watch there with the 3 top 10 teams there in that region. I think it's Region 1 5A.
No question. Of course, Bradwell and Statesboro have been good for a long time, and good to see Ware playing some good girls basketball as well. And you're right, 3 ranked teams out of one region, not the biggest region in the world either. So there's going to be some knockdown, drag out fights in that one. And Sean, we kind of talked about it with a couple of our regions in football. It could be the same thing in terms of just this region. With the girls, I mean, the 3 seed might be a pretty doggone good team that you don't want to see on your bracket as a number 2 seed at home in the opening round when the state playoffs roll around. So we'll see how it all shakes out, but could be some good, exciting girls basketball in that league for sure.
Yeah, and we'll get to bring you some of that on 912sports.net as well. We'll talk a little bit about that right after this. But we've got down to Single A Division II. We've got the defending state champion Clinch County Pantherettes. They're coming in at number 4, sitting there at 4-2 on the season. Lost to Ware earlier, and then lost to Wilcox there in a region game. But the Panthers off to another great start there over in Clinch County.
Yeah, and of course, they don't play as many games in the pre-Christmas part of the schedule as some of the other schools may, because their head coach and some other coaches are still involved with that football team that usually tends to go pretty deep. So they'll play a lot of games coming up right here in January to get back on track. But obviously, we got a story on one of Clinch's top players coming up here, the Dorsey kid. In our next edition of the magazine, and she's certainly going to be exciting to watch. But this Clinch team is going to be exciting to watch too. They knocked the door down, got that state championship last year after a near miss a few years before. So they're certainly one of the best teams in the state, one of the premier programs here in Southeast Georgia. A lot of depth on this squad, and to just be interesting to see how far they can go once again. But do expect them to have another great season there at Clinch.
Yeah, Coach Chase Daniels does a great job over there. And by comparison, Kevin, Clinch is sitting there at 4-2 on the season. Another team that we're going to talk about is the Camden County girls. They're sitting there at 14-2 on the season. Yeah. So they played 10 more games, just to what you were talking about there. But both Camden programs, Kevin, having great seasons. Even though they're not ranked, they're right outside the top 10, knocking on the door. The boys coming in 10-2. I think that's the best start in Camden County basketball history. Of course, David Bailey, who went to the state championship with the Charlton County Indians last year, taking over that program now. So he's now the head coach down there. And then, of course, the Smith lady from played at Glenn, or coached at Glenn, played at Camden. She's back at home now running that girls program down there for Camden. The boys coming in at 10-2 on the season. And then Camden girls sitting there at 14-2. And I think, Kevin, I didn't do a deep dive, but I think all 4 of these losses for Camden come from the big Florida powerhouses. They haven't really lost to a Georgia team as of yet.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, they probably have played as many games as anybody, maybe in the state, but certainly in Southeast Georgia. I know they went to an early tournament early in the season where they got several games in against some Florida schools, and then, played in another Christmas tournament, I think, down in Florida. So that's kind of why they've sort of played so many games at this point. But, yeah, 2 relatively new coaches there at Camden with Sharnisha Smith. Of course, she's a household name in Camden, being a star player herself there back in the day. But David Bailey coming from Charlton, where he did a great job, and now leading the Camden County Wildcats. Their boys team kind of, I don't know necessarily built around 2 football players, but Eliza Williams, the big kid, is a heck of a basketball player and tight end for Camden. And then Denigel Cooper, a good tight end and more so defensive lineman for Camden, is a big staple on that Camden boys team as well. So going to be exciting to see what they can do in Coach Bailey's first year. And back to the Camden girls, Sharnisha Smith had a tough year with the Lady Wildcats as their coach, last year, kind of putting her program in place. And obviously they've come a long way already, Sean, with such a great record, a losing record last year and lost a lot of games. And just had a terrible season as far as wins and losses go. But you can kind of see their development last year that carried over through a big off season, and certainly has carried over and looks like all the work they put in has paid dividends here in the early portion of the schedule. And they've actually probably got a shot at that Region 1 championship, Sean. I think it's going to be a dogfight in that region as well. But Camden's come a long enough ways now where I think they got a legitimate shot at that too, and certainly a state playoff berth. So those two Camden teams, after a great football season, are going to be exciting to watch.
Exactly, and Charnice has got some players too. We're going to be doing a story, scholar athlete on the Taylor girl down there. So check that out in the next magazine. So again, she got some girls to play for sure.
Yeah, and that girl alone is sort of much like this Camden team. Of course, she was their leader last year. Had a lot of pressure put on her. Kind of had to do a little bit of everything: bring the ball up and down the court, score, play defense, all rebound, everything. This year, she's playing, a little more of a more limited role, concentrating on, just, specific positions, specific skill set. But she really developed her game in the offseason as well. So that story on her, we'll talk about her academics, but also her progress as a basketball player. And she's maybe kind of a poster child for this Camden team in general. And she's made improvement. They've made improvement. It just all kind of mixes together.
But one of the things we also want to let everybody know, we're going to be doing 3 basketball broadcasts this year. Kevin, you're going to be back with Golden Isles basketball. I'm going to be doing Gator basketball, and then Robbie Ross is going to be doing Frederica Academy basketball. As a matter of fact, Frederica's already had their first broadcast. They'll be, they kicked off last night, and then Ware has their first broadcast coming up this Friday night, the 5th, as they'll be taking on Jenkins. And then, Kevin, I believe you are starting your season off next Tuesday the 9th there with Golden Isles basketball.
Yeah, I'm excited about Golden Isles basketball again. Hard to believe already this is going to be our 3rd year when we tip it off, and have some pretty good success with that. So far, I've seen some good, high school basketball with just both Brunswick and Glenn on those broadcasts. But the cool thing about it is they play a lot of these other Southeast Georgia teams, so we get to broadcast those teams as well and see those teams throughout the Golden Isles basketball season. But I'm real excited to see what Brunswick and Glenn can do again. The Glenn boys are rolling right now. I think the Glenn girls are improved, certainly this year. And then, of course, the Brunswick teams have some losses right now, maybe not as strong as you might think they would be. I think the girls will be there in the end. I think Chris Turner get that boys team going. I know the big Hezzy Kent kid missed some games with an ankle injury, I believe, or some kind of lower leg injury because he was in a boot around, pre-Christmas. So I think they've gotten him back now, and he should be good to go. But I'm real excited to see, Ware basketball take off. I know there's some excitement around the girls that we've already mentioned, and, of course, the boys with a new coach. Matter of fact, they beat Brunswick in Brunswick's Christmas tournament. And, you don't just roll into Brunswick and beat Chris Turner and the Pirates. So that's a big early season win for them. And then excited about Frederica basketball too, Sean. Glad, we got Robbie, on board doing that again. Of course, he did some Golden Isles baseball with me in the past, but, and has hosted some podcasts for us. But Ed Wilson back there led Frederica to state championship in the past. Back there, interesting thing is coaching both the boys and the girls in his first season back. So Robbie's going to have to deal with him on both fronts. I'm not so sure I would wish that on anybody, but Wilson, quite a character. If you don't do anything else, listen to the post-game interviews. They might be kind of entertaining. But anyway, real excited to see basketball growing. And, of course, I guess we shouldn't talk about it, but I know we're all excited about our baseball broadcast coming up, basically right smack near the end of basketball season. So we'll have kind of that crossover going on there in February and maybe into March.
We got games ending for basketball in February and baseball starting in February. So we'll have to do some balancing act as well. But yeah, we're real excited about Gator basketball. A lot of buzz around the program with Coach Wilkins Williams taking over. Lenny's done a great job since he's came on board. He brought a lot of excitement. So people are starting to talk about Ware County basketball again. And of course, Coach Lingenfelder's done an excellent job. Got our girls ranked in the top 10. It's going to be a tough region there with 3 teams ranked in the top 10. But I'm excited to broadcast those games on 912sports.net and looking forward to it. But hey, that's going to wrap up the show for us tonight. Appreciate everybody watching. Tune in next week as we'll be here live every Thursday night right here at 7 o'clock on Facebook Live. But until then, may all your check marks go in the win column. Good night, everybody.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie son's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.